So my name is Kevin, and I'm the founder, owner of Ideating. And so ideas and Eaton kind of put together is Ideating, which is where I love ideas. That's my last name. And so that's how I came up with the name. And so I show people how to create freedom with talent, tools, and tech. So how do people create freedom with talent, tools, and tech? So I'm going to say a word. We're going to use this word throughout today. But before I say the word, I want to preface it by saying I want to kind of redefine the word a little bit. Because even when I hear the word, I'm like, I know what that means. But I've kind of been seeing it in a different light. So the word is systems. Who here has heard that word, systems? So when I think of that, I think of technology. I think of all these complicated things and how they all work together. And so systems, I've found, are actually something a little bit different. In a more broad sense, it's any way that we can save ourselves time, energy, and money. So I saw this, and I'm like, I love that. I'm going to use that. So we have, let's see. Can you guys see that? Great. So I'm actually going to put this down here. So a system is anything that we can use to go there. Save yourself time, energy, and money. Have you guys ever heard it said that way? I love acronyms. I'm like, I can remember that. So a system is anything that can save yourself time, energy, and money. So I'm doing a business coaching program through this guy named Myron Golden. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I can share what I love about it. And so he said, this is a system for him. Like, how's a book a system? I don't get it. Like, a book being a system. This system that he created, he was a business coach for decades. And he decided that he wanted to kind of keep moving up and help higher focused entrepreneurs. So he's like, well, how can I help people that I'm still helping? So he created a system. So this book is his kind of business principles, success, how he does that. So I can go on a website and I can purchase this, which I did, buy the book, I get the book to my house, and I get to read it. He doesn't have to do anything of his time to have money and now my attention. I mean, wouldn't we all like money and attention from people? Because that's how we can build relationships, build trust, and kind of help people and create the value that we want to create for others. So this idea of a system is anything that saves yourselves time, energy, and money. It doesn't require us for work to be done. And that's hard, like it sounds like a dream. It's out there. There are systems for everything. So during our time today, I want to, my hope is that you will understand better that why knowing when and how to use time, or when and how to use talent, tools, and tech is the key to creating freedom and having more time for what matters most. That's my core. What I do, I want to help people have more time for what matters most. So have you ever gone through the day and at the end of the day, you're like, what did I do today? I don't feel like I actually accomplished what I needed to accomplish. Has anybody experienced that? I know I have. It's not a fun feeling because it's like, but I did work all day long. And so maybe it's we have an email that comes in and it's like, hey, can you send me that link to that file, that thing? I'm like, thought I already did that. Okay, fine. And then we go hunt it down. We try to find it. And 5, 10, 15 minutes go by. We already sent it to them. They just didn't know where it was. Or maybe we get a message on Slack. Maybe it's a customer texts us. Like, I have to stop what I'm doing and I have to go over and do this other thing. And so it's, the best way that I've heard it put is, it's work about work. So it's not actually the work I want to be doing. It's not meeting with people. It's not having those conversations. It's not fill in the blank. It's this work about work. And that can be really draining and tiring. I've experienced that. And I was working with a small team. This is an executive search team. I don't know if you've heard that phrase. I hadn't before I met them. And we ran my WTF plan, my wasted time fix plan. So it's like, where's the wasted time? It's there. Let's find it. And then I'll give you a fix. And so I met with their team. There's about 6 of them. And they're closing millions in sales. They already seem very effective. And so could anybody guess how much time I found wasted in their small 6-person team?
3 hours.
How many?
3 hours.
Okay. Higher.
Hey,
in a week. Let's say in a week. In a week.
8 hours.
Okay. I found 25 hours of wasted time every week. It was these little things here and there, these little leaks. I don't know if you've ever had a plumbing leak. They scare the life out of me. But it's like you don't know that they're there, and they can create a big problem. And so I worked with them, and a lot of it boiled down to a few different things, one of which centered around people doing things their own way. This is how I've always done it. This is how I'm going to keep doing it. Okay, that was 10, 15 years ago. Now things have changed. Technology has changed. This is how I want to do it, even though the rest of my team's trying to do it this way. And so they kind of were stuck. They didn't have any team norms. Like when an email came in, so they had partners, associates, and assistants. So a partner emailed an associate. The associate's like, oh, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to dive in. I have to answer this question. Even though I already sent an email, I have to go back and remember all the stuff and get back to it. And so they were having to jump context, do this work about work. And it was draining their time. Because when I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but when you are doing something that requires mental effort, and then you have to go do something else, you have to kind of like put on a different hat, and then like, okay, where was this? What was that? And then kind of jump back and forth. It takes a long time. I can context switch very quickly. So like if we're talking about something and somebody brings something else in, like my kids, I can jump into that and then come back. That's not hard for me, but that's not easy for everyone. My wife takes her a long time to context switch. And we're just wired differently, and that's just how life is. And so probably the core underlying thing that I found in this small team of 6 people was, hey, Evan, oh, you're fine. Their systems didn't support their growth. And so they didn't recognize that they were losing this time. They also didn't have a way to constantly recognize and check, how do we need to change? What's this new technology? I was working, when I was on the last kind of follow-up call, I went through, reviewed my findings with them. And I said this one thing, and one of the partners was like, but Kevin, what if I need the information right away? That's a great question. And then, Joe, where would that information be? Joe's like, well, I would have put it in the report that I emailed him. I'm like, okay. So Mike already has access to it. Mike, did you know that? He's like, yeah, I know, but I don't want to go find it. Okay. Did you guys both know that if they use Microsoft and they use their AI tool Copilot? If you're not familiar, talk later. But like, did you know that if Joe put that over here, Mike, you could ask a chatbot question right here and get the answer? Isn't really? Like, yes. If you set up your systems properly, you can get the information a lot faster. And then it's not this back and forth, this waiting game. So their systems weren't set up to support growth. So I want to hear a little bit from you guys, because we don't all know each other. We're getting to know each other. And so I want to know, I want to know either. So I'll take like 3 to 5 minutes total, not per person. Either what got you, how did you get started in the work you're doing? Or what are you like, this is what drives me and motivates me? So if you're willing to share, what got you started in the work you're doing? And or what's kind of like your driving, motivating, like this is what compels me to keep doing this? Go for it.
I'm in flooring business.
Yep.
Flooring retail. So I started laying flooring when I was out of high school.
Okay, started doing the work. Yep.
So I enjoyed the physical labor, doing the work.
Yeah.
And always seeing the final outcome of a transformation in a house.
Looks good.
So, but I also enjoy helping people. So the more I've learned about it, the more I've found a lot of people are uneducated or just have lots of questions and trying to help them through the process and helping them understand and get the right product for their home.
Nice.
I really enjoy that personal connection. And in the end, when you get done, you're really just happy not only with the product, but with the service and just getting that customer satisfaction.
Love it. That's awesome. So kind of move from doing the work to teaching people and like showing people the right way to do the work and get the right results. That's awesome. I love it. Cool. Aaron.
I'm an architect, And the why, the driving force for me really is just being able to very quickly see how much better something can be.
Ooh, okay.
Whether it's someone's house, someone's business, vacant lot, I can see this vision of something better can be done.
Yeah, something.
That's the driving force of all right, and I know how to get there.
Yeah.
The education, the experience, I can make that better thing real.
That's cool. Yeah. To pull out the better. It's there. Maybe it's in the future. Anyone else want to share?
I started 25 years ago in the finance business, small loan origination. About 15 years ago, through my own financial struggles, I discovered financial coaching.
Cool.
And I launched my business
Nice.
15 months ago.
Awesome. Congrats.
And that's really, I grew from the person that was running the business and helping the Main Street people with subprime lending to teaching them how to overcome the need for subprime lending.
Cool.
It's honestly my passion.
Yeah, it's great.
I would love to do full time.
Yeah, because that's awesome. I love it. So we get to this place where we want to help people, we want to create value for others. We have a desire, we have these interests and wiring to help, and then we get opportunities to help people. And so that's kind of like, I would say, for good growing businesses, is that core desire to want to help and create value for others. There's a lot of pieces to running a business, or even managing a team. Maybe not everybody here runs a business. Maybe you manage a team, you manage a process, and that's kind of what you own. And so we'll use that as kind of the framework for this next step. But let's see if we can kind of come up with maybe like 5 to 6, 7 of the core needs of a business. So like think about that. Maybe you've experienced one, you've had one, or a team. Like what are some of those things that are required for a business to like be profitable, make money, all that? Aaron.
Invoicing.
Okay, invoicing. So we'll do, let's see. Okay. We'll do finance. We'll do invoice. I think that fits under, anyways, yeah, invoice. We said sales, okay. Marketing, yeah. Sorry for my scribble scratch. Okay, what else?
Communication.
Oh, comms, yeah, okay. I'm going to put that over under marketing. You mean, there's internal, there's external, there's all of it.
A workforce.
Workforce, okay, so let's do employees, people. We'll do team. Your team. Yeah. What else? What?
Money.
Yeah, having the money. Yeah. Let's do finance. What about, like, go ahead.
I would say your magic formula is you actually
Ooh, the doing of the work. Yeah. Doing. I'm going to put technician there because I like that word.
So materials, type of materials you have to get access to.
Okay, yeah, so what's that? Inventory, procurement, all that. We'll do inventory. I like inventory.
If you're a retail of some sort, whatever you're selling.
Yeah. And so with inventory comes vendors. Like, we'll just use these. These are great. Let's see, did I have any others? Marketing, sales, comms, team, doing. Okay, there's one more that we'll say in a minute. So right now, if you think about it, when someone starts, you might have experienced this. I've experienced this. It's like, okay, I have to wear all these hats. In order to start a business, in order to start a team and run something that's creating value for others, I have to do all this work. So right now, we're just going to I'm going to use the phrase owner, but if you, maybe you're a manager, director, kind of picture that as this, like you have all these hats, or you at least know the people doing this work. But all this work needs to be being done. So for me, my love of systems and my kind of aha moment of this space, I just had our second child. Our kids our two oldest are 14 and a half months apart, and life was kind of crazy. And so we were going down to Florida from Atlanta, which is where we lived at the time, and my wife flew down with the kids and her mom. So I had an 8-9 hour car ride to get to Orlando. What can I do? What can I learn? I like to learn. I'm always learning. So I listened to a book called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The subtitle was Why Most Small Businesses Fail and What You Can Do About It. I don't want to fail. I didn't even have a small business. I just didn't want to fail. And so I listened to the book, and that like blew my mind on business strategy, business systems and process, specifically when it comes to role-based work, not people-based work. So at the time, I was on a small team. So we did, I call it field work. And so I was working for a big company on a college campus. And so my target audience were college students. That's who I worked with. And so my time for my job was to be around them and with them when they were available. So, but like I said, I just had 2 kids. So there's kind of some competing time. And so I brought this new idea, this new systems process to my team. My team leader, Chris, is like, hey, Chris, I'm so excited about this. I want to do this for us. He's like, great. I want you to do that. You're excited about it. Keep doing the rest of your work too. I was like, okay. So I was kind of like adding more to my plate. I'm like, oh, but I valued it. And so it got to this point pretty soon thereafter that my work was requiring more of my time and my family was requiring more of my time. And I'm like, started to feel this weight, this overwhelm, this burden of, I can't do it all. Like, I don't have enough time to give. My wife needs more of my time. My family needs more of my time. My job needs more of my time. And so I didn't recognize it at the time. I did it. I was thinking in all of those, what I was saying, my family needs more of my time, my work needs more. Those are statements. So they're kind of, this kind of phrase was statements keep me stuck. And so it was a statement. My wife needs more time. And so I'm like adding this weight on top of myself. I can't do this. I can't do that. It was a statement. And so statements made me stuck. And I learned that questions can create freedom. So, okay, so let's take a step back. Okay, what's changed? Like, why is it more important? Like, why does my wife need more of my time right now? Oh, we have 2 kids. We have bedtime, we have dinner time, bedtime, bath time, rest time. Like the evening, oh, interesting. Now I have this new data point, this new idea. As I ask the questions, what's different? Why is it different? Oh, it's not just that my wife needs more of my time. When does she need my time? So she's working with the kids all day long. Maybe I'm in and out of the house, going to meetings, so I had to go onto this college campus. Okay, so she's exhausted at the end of the day, and she needs a partner. I'm like, oh. So it's not just she needs more of my time, when does she need my time? So that was kind of like this aha moment for me, that I had this new epiphany. Oh, I started asking questions, I became curious. Okay, so how can I take this information? Okay, how can I then create a system, because this system stopped working for us as a family. How can I take this information and find a new system? So I looked at my company, and they had need of something that I could do in our regional office, which is about 30 minutes away in Atlanta. Oh, okay. So I chose to take a different job. So now I'm asking the questions and I'm creating this different freeing system for us. So now I had more of a 9-to-5 job. It was really like 7:30 to 3 because I wanted to avoid Atlanta traffic. And I could be home and available for my family. It was so free and I loved it. And so there's this kind of like bent as statements made me stuck. Curiosity or questions created freedom. And so, like I said at the beginning, I want to make sure that by the time we leave today, that you recognize and understand that when I know when and how to use talent, tech, and tools, I can create freedom and have more time for what matters most. And in this change, I learned a lot. Now, systems are not the solution for everything. Maybe they are. But systems need work. And so I come into this new role, and the job that I took was a conference operations team leader. And so I had experience in conferences, I know process and all that. And so, but there were some pieces to that puzzle that I didn't yet realize that we needed for our systems to work. And so after a couple months, this team that I joined was a brand new team, like taking conference experts from across the country and kind of condensing them to help create new things. But again, everybody had their way of doing things, their process. And would you go to figure that conferences on the East Coast didn't want to be run the same as conferences on the West Coast? Like people in California do things differently than people in Florida. Go figure. We didn't really kind of categorize that or quantify that for a little while. And so I'm on a call with my new director, Nate. And Nate, he's great. He's like, Kevin, I'm so frustrated. I'm like, say more. I like to hear pain points. Let's find out. I hear there's a problem there. Kevin, it took me over 15 minutes and 5 tools to find the answer to one question. I'm like, you're seeing what I see. Great. Because I didn't have a space to change that because the previous directors didn't want to change. I'm like, oh, you get to see it now. It's like, yes. How can we change this? And so we went ahead and we decided to change. We actually adopted a new piece of technology that got rid of some other things and condensed information so that our team as a whole. But when we were doing this, there's 2 big things that came out. Actually, I posted on YouTube. I'll give you that link later. But recently posted the 7 biggest mistakes team leaders make when changing tech. It's like short if you're interested. But 2 of the big things that came out of that, there's change fatigue. Have you guys heard that phrase, change fatigue? You can kind of if you haven't, you can figure out what that means. But our team, this new national team, had a lot of change over the past couple of months. And they were just exhausted of all this change. Like, I'm going to change something else, change a new thing. So they were apprehensive to even consider something new because they were fatigued. And the other side of that was, we didn't actually have any process defined. We didn't know when a request comes in, how do we go from request to execution? Like, nobody had defined that process because everybody had done it their own ways. And so over the course of the next few months, my job was to help kind of pick apart, find those best practices, and create the systems and process. And so I share that because we started moving from this, like, well, this is how I've always done it, this is just how it is, to what's better? How do we do this more effectively? How do we do this for the whole with less people? And so I've talked a little bit about this idea of statements and questions. So I want to ask you, what are some of the statements that you experience, maybe yourself, a spouse, loved one, customers, what are some of those statements that keep people stuck that you've experienced? Just go ahead and call it any kind of statement-based things that stand up. I'm afraid of change. I can't do change. Yep, totally. What are some other statements? Yep.
I'm not good at that.
Yes, I'm not good at that. Yeah, I wrestle with that one myself.
I don't have enough time.
I don't have enough time. Yes, absolutely.
What's wrong with the old way?
Okay, that's a question, but it's a good one. Like, what's wrong with the old way? Like, why not? Why change? Like, that's more of like I'm apprehensive of change. Totally.
People be like, that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah, that's the way we've always done it. Yeah, what's wrong with the old way? I totally get that. Yeah. Woo! It ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah. So I get these, I recognize them. My kids, Daddy, I can't do this. I have a 10, 9, and 6-year-old and 2-month-old. Daddy, I can't do this. Like, 3, 2, okay, I did it. Like, their initial thought is, I can't. But then they try, they wrestle a little bit, and then they do it. And so, really moving from how we've always done it to how can we do it better. So one of the things that I loved when I had the opportunity to work with this team was, and I found this kind of being a principle for a lot of people and teams that I work with. This is how I've always done it, is actually, I don't know how to tell other people how to do it. And so there are experts out there. They know. So when we made this change for this team, our teams have been doing regional events all across the U.S. So there were people who were experts at running conference operations. I was not one of them. I got to learn a lot. But these experts, they had so much information in their head, they just didn't know how to take it out and share it with other people. So when we wanted to bring on team members and new, inexperienced conference and event planners, we didn't have a way to do that. So I had the opportunity to help people like, hey, how did you do that? Why did you think that? Where did you learn that? And really pull out some of that information. Because experts in some way, shape, or form, you were an expert at something, and there is something in your head that if it came out, it could be really helpful to someone else. So let's come back to this picture here. So right now, if we look at this picture, as it stands, all of this information, if we imagine a new team or a new business, all of this information kind of flows to the owner, through the owner. And so whether it's a question, so this, maybe some of you already get where I'm going with this, but like, what's the kind of the phrase you might have heard when this is the case, when all this information has to go through one person? Bottleneck. This becomes a bottleneck. And so here's like you have this bottle. And so the owner sits up here, and all this stuff is stuck to get out because they did it their way. And so here's kind of like the story that I love. So let's say Sally is really good at baking pies. She bakes pies. Hey, you should make a business. You should go bake pies for other people. Okay, great. She starts baking pies. And then customers come in. And then we have to deal with customers now. And then I have to market. I have to sell. I have to do it like finance. You have all these things, and then you hire an employee. Hey, go bake my pies for me. I'm going to go do this other stuff. But if you don't train, if you don't teach, if you don't create the standards for someone to do that, it's not going to get done your way. Would you say people don't all do books the same way? There's a right way, and then there's, their way. And so people become the bottleneck. Maybe you manage a process, maybe you manage people, maybe you're an owner. The question there is, how are we a bottleneck? And that's a really hard question, but when we can start asking that question, then we can start questioning, well, how do I create freedom? How do I remove myself from the equation? And so here's the picture that I like. See if I can do this on here. So let's say we take marketing, and let's see, let's get rid of this, move this over here. Let's take marketing. What if we move it under team? What if we move sales over here, and then we'll do, now is erase. So what do we see here? What's happening to the bottleneck? It's flowing down. Like the owner, manager, isn't the only one. Now they have less things dependent on them. So this is the beginning of creating freedom. Now, I'll share more about the how that happens, if not today, later. But this is kind of the picture that this information now is going to and through someone else, so that the owner, this is one of the things that was missing from earlier, the owner now has some freedom to some strategic thinking. How do we move forward? So now the owner has a little bit more freedom to move forward. That didn't exist because we were doing all this work. Maybe it's work about work. Maybe it's work that we need to be doing. And so there's this picture that when we start asking questions, we move from statements to questions. We kind of open the door. How? Who? Maybe who can do this? Maybe instead of how can I do this, maybe who can do this for me? And that's a big question. There's actually a book out. I haven't read it yet. It's on my list of reading, which there's a long list there. But Who, Not How is the title of the book. Who can do it for me rather than how can I do it? And that's the beginning of creating freedom. So let's see. A couple more. So I want to kind of begin to land the plane. Two of the main questions that I wrestle with, because I'm in this technology consulting space. It's like, I don't have time to learn new things. Okay, the statement. Or I can't afford new things. Okay, I hear you. I hear that you said that. Affirming that they feel that way. And the truth is, oftentimes people are already spending money on whatever it is, the solution that they need. They're just not realizing that it's not new money. Or they're spending time on that thing because they don't want to take the time to step back and really assess the process. That's how we've always done it. Like, I don't have the time to change. And so some of the different questions there, if it's like, I don't have time to learn this thing, it's like, when can I learn that? Or who could help me learn that? And so that's the thing that I like to help people with, is like, how do you become the person who knows when and how to use technology, talent, and tools to create freedom for you and your team? And so here's, in this idea of, I don't have the time to learn it, you're already spending money on that. or maybe who can help me learn this? Who can help me? Or who can do it for me? Oftentimes, the who can do it for me is going to cost a lot of money. And that's just how it is, because if somebody's really good at what they do, it's going to cost a lot of money. I get that. But at the same point, we can be stuck, and I know I've experienced this. It's like when someone says, hey, I can solve this problem for you. Like, it's going to cost this much money. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of money. Sounds like, feels like, kind of feel that. And so I'm kind of allowing myself to be stuck, or maybe I don't believe them. Maybe I'm like, I don't think you can actually solve my problem. I don't trust you. And so, like, if somebody came up to you and said, hey, can I send you money? Probably not. I don't trust you. I don't know you. But that is, let's say that's more of a negative way of thinking versus a curious way of thinking. And so at the end of this time, I'm actually going to say that to you. Can I send you some money? So remind me if I forget, but I want to send you all money. I'll tell you how at the end of this. But it's this statement of like, okay, my initial default thinking is, I don't trust you, I don't know you, I don't believe you. This negative, kind of like shut the door. But if we can move to being curious, it's like, okay, skeptical, maybe I would say skepticism is different than negativism, if you may. So, okay, let me hear you. I'm interested. So to open the door of like, okay, I'll listen, but be cautious, be careful, be curious. But that's that kind of having that shift is what's going to allow someone to move from being the bottle to being the throttle. And so I've only driven a boat once. It was a lot of fun, like just that feeling of like pushing the throttle forward and like going fast. And that's this picture of when an owner moves from being the bottle to being the throttle, they actually now have control over the speed at which business happens. And that would be a nice place to be if things are working well. When things go too fast, too quickly, there can be a problem. I get that. And so as I want to kind of leave you with this picture of, in thinking of growth and forward motion, how do we get there? What does it look like? So this picture is a picture of potted plant. Has anybody ever bought a potted plant of any kind? So when I'm there, so I went to Horn's nursery last fall. And my wife and I, we bought like 12 plants. They all came in these pots. Some of them even had fruit on them still. Like you go to a nursery, I've been to a blueberry nursery, and all these pots, like hundreds of pots, they all have fruit on these blueberry bushes. I'm like, yes, and like we're eating blueberries off of them. When I get them home, those blueberries die very quickly because at the nursery, they have their systems set up for these potted plants to have the nutrients and the water that they need. I don't have that system set up at my house because I don't have all these hoses and everything. And so my job is to either give it water, nutrients, but that's only going to allow the plant to grow so much because it's in this pot. The roots can't get down and grow because if the roots don't grow, the fruits don't grow. And so we have to get, my wife and I, we had to get those 12 plants in the ground as fast as possible. And so, like, okay, cool. I'm going to do a lot of digging. That sounds like fun with our great thick soil. And so I started, it's a Saturday, and I got out, me and my shovel, and I went and I dug a hole. It took over an hour, and it was hard. And I was exhausted after that hour. So that was me doing it myself, the DIY approach. And so I'm like, this needs to be faster. I don't want to spend all this time. It's like going to take this much time to do this thing. But we need it to happen. Okay, so what's kind of the in-between? Well, I want to try a new power tool. So let's go to Tri-City Power. And I rented an auger. You guys have ever used or seen one of those big old drill? It's really hard, just going to say that. But I used it, and it took what took over an hour down to 20 minutes. And so I was able to do all those holes. I was still exhausted. We got it done in a day. And so, but I also chose, rather than just kind of sticking it out and spending all of this time, I paid a little bit of money to shrink that timeline. So I saved myself a little bit of time, a little bit of energy, and I spent a little bit of money. And so we have maybe the DIY approach and then the done with you approach. And so a little bit of time, a little bit of money. What would be, could anybody guess what's that last step, the like fully done for you? For this specific example, getting plants in the ground. I could just pay someone to plant them for me. But that's, again, like less time, but more money. And so you kind of have this structure of, if I do it myself, it's going to take a lot of time, but it's going to cost a little bit of money. There's not really truth in that. And then there's the done with me. So maybe I have a coach, a consultant, somebody kind of showing me how to do it. I buy a power tool. Or I have someone do it all for me. And so my goal was to get these potted plants in the ground so that the roots could grow. And so I condensed that timeline a little bit. Could have paid someone else, done it a little bit faster, had more energy. And so the thing about this money only, like not my time, but money only approach, that I do think there's a place and a time for someone to just come in and set up a system for me. I really do. And pay them, they're experts, they know what they're doing. The thing that I found, even when I work with myself or when I work with other teams that work with other people, is oftentimes someone will come in and they will set up their thing for your system in their way, but they won't teach you how to use it. Or maybe they sell you on this really cool result, but their result doesn't really fit inside of your system well. And so there's this friction, there's tension, there's this pain. And so this is where I sit. I sit in this middle spot where I help people learn how to ask the questions, learn how to even understand how do automations work? How does delegation work? How do I make templates and SOPs? How do I do all of that? So that we can become the people who know when and how to hire, or when and how to do it ourselves. If the DIY approach is the right way, then you'll know that. So like a website comes to mind. Has anybody had to like either build their own website or pay someone to do it? Yeah, I get it. There's ins and outs of that. I could pay someone like, get this like $10,000 value for only $200, whatever it is. But then if they don't fit that website build into my system, then that website is great. It looks awesome, but nobody's going to it. That's a problem. So how do we make sure all of the dots are connected so that when we invest our time and our money into other things, they bear fruit? And so there is a place and a time. And so I wanted to kind of help you all see kind of this process moving from statements to curiosity and questions. And then asking those questions like, how can I become the person who knows when and how to use time, to use tech, talent, and tools to create freedom and have more time for what matters most? So that's the work that I'm in. And actually, later this month, starting on the 24th of June, so Tuesdays at 2 on the 24th. Tuesdays at 2 on the 24th, I'm hosting a live mastermind. Let's see. And would love for all of you to join. So this is it's $97, and it's going to be for 4 weeks. So it's total, let's see, 4. And this is going to help you recognize and even go in a little more detail. Honestly, it's the rest of them there. Because I want to help you and people in general learn how to create freedom. So this is going to be a virtual event. You can do it from anywhere. And to really talk through the moving from this idea of being the technician, maybe you're managing a process, managing people, to owning and creating the freedom that you need. And so it's going to be 4 weeks. There'll be bonuses. You'll have access to the recordings. This is something that I value and believe once people can kind of see the how and the when to use talent, tech, and tools, they can create the freedom that they want. And so for today, I am offering, for the first 5 people that sign up today, I'm also including a 1-hour solutions consult. And so we'll be able to sit down for an hour and talk through your pain points, your frustrations, and find and give some direction to solutions. I was actually doing this with a local nonprofit last week, and it was so fun to like see the lights pop up in her, like, oh wow, like I could do that. And she left with 3 or 4 things that would help them move their nonprofit forward. And so I love having these conversations. That's kind of my passion. And so I also mentioned, so that's going to be first 5 people that sign up today get a free 1-hour business consult or solutions consult. And here's how I said I wanted to send you all money, right? So this is how. For anybody, when you register, for anybody that you invite and they register, I'm giving 50% of whatever comes in back to you. So that means if you have 2 people join you, your ticket's free. I want to send you money. And so there's also an upgrade if you want to do, there's the VIP upgrade if you want to do like actually ask a question that I'll answer live throughout the 4 weeks. So it's $97 starting on Tuesdays at 2 on the 24th. We'll try to get the alliteration there. Tuesdays at 2 on the 24th. It'll be virtual, and then if you can't make it live, but if you still join, you will get the recordings after the fact, and then the bonuses that come with that. So would love to have you. It's something that I'm passionate about and believe that there's better for everyone. And when we can have the freedom and have more time for what matters most, life just gets better. So that's my time and what I wanted to share today.
How long do they last?
About an hour. Yeah, I try to keep it down to an hour.
Is it just for business owners?
No. That's why I said, like, it's, as I'm trying to, like, who's my target audience for this, I'm like, people who wear multiple hats. And, like, just too many words. So it's anybody who owns a process or manages people. Yeah. Or just wants to find freedom. So I'll go ahead and start cleaning
I
up.
wonder if anybody has really thought about the questions you had at the beginning.
Yeah. Because this is one of the big things for me. Like, I really want to get to this thing. I just don't have enough time. So having the freedom to get to where I want to be, that's core to what I'm excited about in helping people find.